Welcome back from the break, Rams, and to this week's edition of Primetime Sports. I'm Brandon Fairbairn.
And I'm Cameron Evig, filling in for Erica Johnson. A lot of impressive performances over the last week for CSU basketball. Kinder Moore had 21 points against Air Force on Saturday. And for women's basketball, Mackenzie Ellis had an impressive 19 also against Air Force. Brandon, who did you feel like was doing the most this week?
This week was an easy one. I have to give it to senior forward Nico Carvacho, who was not only doing the most this week against number 5, San Diego State, but for CSU basketball for the last 5 years. Carvacho had 17 points and 7 rebounds against San Diego State last week, and he was the main reason the Rams were only 6 points away from beating the Aztecs. Here we have Isaiah Savings missing the jump shot, but Carvacho between 3 defenders gets the rebound. What's new?
Oh my.
Puts it in, finishes the job. And now we have Roddy passing it to Carvacho. Reading the court and does a nice pivot move against a 6'10 Yanni Wenzel.
Nico's been doing that for 5 years.
Yep, absolutely. And now we have Chris Martin throwing it to Carvacho in the paint. By the time the defender turns around, the bucket's already down. Carvacho ends the season with second-team All-Mountain West honors, but quite frankly, I feel like he was snubbed from the first one.
Could have been, yeah.
The amount of points he puts in, points and rebounds week in and week out is completely unmatched. But hey, he has bigger accomplishments. He's the all-time leader in the Mountain West with double-doubles and and rebounds. Yep. So sorry, excuse me. So Cameron, who do you think is doing the most this week?
Yeah, for me, Nico Carvacho, obviously a CSU Rams legend, will go down in history. But for me, I have to go with senior Andrea Brady on the CSU women's basketball team. And, she's been doing the most. Andy was named to the Mountain West all-defensive team. And while she's obviously a threat on the defensive end, her offense is not too shabby herself. The last 2 regular season games, last one against Air Force, 20 points and 17 back-to-back. The women's basketball team season sadly ended 2 days ago with a heartbreaking 60-48 loss to rival Air Force in the Mountain West tournament. But with women's basketball ending, that can only mean one thing. It's softball season.
That's right, Cam. With the weather getting somewhat better, we knew this would be a perfect time for a softball Rambuzz question. So for our first question, we asked Ram Nation what they thought about the rough 9-9 start for the Rams softball compared to last year's 39-12 record. Do you believe the Rams could turn around their season with a first-place victory at Colorado State Classic this weekend? Right here, we have 64% yes, 36% no. Cam, which side are you leaning more towards?
I don't know. It's going to be tough, but if you do look at the CSU, home games can help with the conference win, make some confidence building up, and maybe get them back on track. And for this CSU softball, they have a lot of home games coming up, including this tournament, of course. And, maybe this can not completely out of it. They still have a shot and have opportunities and games to play this season. Also, this gives a chance for those young players on the team to maybe build up their potential, get a little bit more experience, and maybe perform a little bit better next year. Look for maybe a little bit better than that 9-9 start.
I agree.
Best record than all the other teams, though.
Yeah. Keenan State has a losing record. Idaho State, Purdue, they all losing records. Yeah. CSU sits at 500 right now, so they still have it, but they're really going to have to rely on senior Ashley Ruiz, who has 12 RBIs and 16 hits on the season. She leads the team in both categories, and right now, the Rams sit at 6th in the Mountain West Conference. Yeah. I know that has to put a fire in their belly, considering they won it last year, and I know their standards are so high, they're going to want to, the only thing that they're thinking about is back-to-back championships. The Rams have to catch up to San Jose State if they want to repeat as conference champions. The Spartans are currently in first place with a 19-3 record. But Cam, isn't there another Colorado team fighting for first place in their conference?
There sure is. The Colorado Avalanche are currently sitting in second place of the NHL Western Conference. And with the playoffs starting next month, we knew this would be a great Rambuzz question. So we had to ask our Rams for our second question if they thought the Colorado Avalanche will take the Western Conference, get that first place spot. And, wow, looks like we got some great results here. You guys are very confident in our Avalanche. 80% say yes, just 20% saying no. And
as they should. They should be confident because the Avs are on a 7-game win streak despite being riddled with injuries. Starting goalie Grubauer's also out. Starting right wing Mito Rantanen, is also out. Yeah. They're going to have to rely on their second team if they're really going to make of their first
Make
the
that
push.
to the
Yeah.
first spot. Yeah.
Nathan McKinnon, the #1 player, the center for Colorado Avalanche, has 86 points on the season. But he's been on a kind of a cold streak lately. He only has 1 goal in the last 10 games. They're really going to have to rely on him to step up if they're going to make that first seed push. The only team standing in their way is the St. Louis Blues, the defending champions. But the Avs, I feel like they are a team that have the experience, the grit, and they can definitely give the Blues a chance to, for the first seed.
Yeah, they can never give the Blues a run for their money, but what can you say about Nathan McKinnon? He's going to get back on track eventually. You expect him to pick it up just a little bit over these next games, and struggled against the third place Golden Knights, but they only have to worry about the Blues above them to get that first spot in the conference. Avalanche second in the conference behind the Blues, and just 1 point separates them. They beat St. Louis both times so far, and I believe the Avs, if they can stay healthy, can have a great chance of snagging that top spot. I just wonder who will be the goaltender, if Gruber will get the start once he comes back for the playoffs, or if they're going to keep the goalie they currently have.
Yeah, no, they're definitely in an interesting situation. Pavel Francouz who's replacing Grubauer as of now, has a .929 save percentage, while Grubauer has a .916 save percentage. They're really they're in good hands. During their playoff run, if one goes down, the other one definitely has it.
Either one is able to step up.
Now it's time for my favorite segment, Can You Do That? Where Cam and I choose 3 plays that make us ask, can anyone else do that? For our first Can You Do That clip, we have Orlando's Magic's mascot, Stuff the Magic Dragon, doing an oddly satisfying backflip junk.
I've seen this. This is great. Look at Stuff here. Off the ladder.
Backflip.
Triple H type stuff.
I know.
Still only a 9 for D. Wade, though. Candace Parker would have gave it a 10, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Our second Can You Do That play, we have Jamal Harris, a.k.a. Mr. 50-inch vertical, showing why he earned that nickname, and this one's pretty good, too. Over slow-mo, jumping. Look at this production value.
One-handed.
What a cameraman.
Yep.
Between the legs. One-handed. Absolutely great play from Jamal
Dwayne Wade
there.
will give that one a 10. He has to, right?
Probably.
He's got to. And for our last clip, we have Tom Bubby Broders mixing his timing and golfing skills together.
And look at Bubby here. Look at that. That flying back and forth.
Perfect.
I can't make that. I'm terrible at golf.
Oh, yeah. You should have called Island.
Any of those skills. Should have called Island, absolutely.
Well, remember, if you're able to do any of these, make sure to show us on Twitter at sports_CTV. We'll make sure to include you on next week's show. I know Cam and I would love to see if anyone could do what we saw tonight.
I think Janae could probably do all 3 of those, knowing how skilled she is in the athletic department. Pretty sure Janae has all of those down, especially.
Like she can do it too, right?
I love how you all are hyping me up right now. However, I cannot do that. I'm terrible at golf as well. So what about you?
I played soccer, and that's about it.
Soccer, golf, same thing, just with a club, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight, Rams. You can tune in tomorrow night to see the second episode of Local Beats, where Maddie Still and Jason Smith will test out their beatboxing skills. Have a great night.